Hello, you're watching World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sascha. A Russian drone strike on a spent nuclear fuel storage facility near Chernobyl on Sunday has triggered an IAEA inspection mission and renewed global concern over nuclear safety risks inside Ukraine. Now, the incident comes as President Volodymyr Zelenskyy met E3 leaders in London, where Ukraine, the UK, France and Germany agreed on a detailed 5-point framework for potential peace settlement. We're now joined by Dr. Eoin McNamara, researcher, Finnish Institute of International Affairs, to discuss it all further. Good to have you with us.
It's good to be here once again.
So looking at what we know about this strike, I mean, granted it was a spent fuel storage facility and radiation levels remain stable, but how serious of an incident is this in your mind?
But of course, it's very serious, and it follows on, previous Russian military operations in and around the Chernobyl nuclear plant at the beginning of Russia's escalated aggression in 2022. Of course, there's a kind of a diversionary element to it, I would guess, because Russian ports in the Baltic Sea, Primorsk, Ust-Luga, even St. Petersburg, have been taking a lot of significant hits from Ukrainian drones in recent days, in recent weeks. So the Russians, there's an element of psychology on this, saying, you better watch out. We can be very reckless, and we'll target Chernobyl. It's quite cheap and easy for them to sow insecurity in this way.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the International Atomic Energy Agency has called this completely unacceptable, warned against this, wanting to dispatch a mission as well. But really, how not credible, but how much of an enforcement mechanism is there? What can they really do?
Well, they can report, they can provide transparent and honest information so that we know the lengths Russia is going to sow insecurity like this. Everyone around the world knows about Chernobyl, know about the danger that still exists there. And of course, this isn't the first Russian attack on this plant. Of course, they damaged the dome or the shell that guards the sarcophagus around the plant a number of years ago. Honest, transparent information, detailed technical information is important here to once again get a measure on the lengths of Russian aggression. And of course, that's what Russia's signaling here, that we can put you very much in danger if you are very good at attacking us, so watch out. So I think that's the effect that the Russians are going for here. But of course, it was a fairly minimal attack. The damage has been pretty small from what has been assessed so far. So it's more about generating information and, as I say, generating fear. That is the Russian aim here.
Mm-hmm. And also Zelenskyy criticizing this. I mean, Zelenskyy himself right now in London, let's talk about that for a moment, the E3. So this is Germany, France, the UK, and Ukraine now meeting. I'm just curious, before we get into the nitty-gritty, what do you make of this meeting? Significance so far? We have a joint statement, I'll get into that. But generally, how significant is the meeting of those four countries now together?
Well, we'll see how significant it is in terms of how these ideas that have been discussed at the meeting and points that have been discussed at the meeting last over time. But I think it is important from a European perspective that we have this unity behind these major powers in Europe, behind Ukraine. That is significant at this time as we go again, so to say, at an effort to bring a fair, just and lasting peace to Ukraine. So that's the nature of peacemaking. You must try and try and try again, fail better, until you get that breakthrough.
Now, there are many types of meetings happening right now in Europe, bilaterals, groups. We have this E3, we have E5. What makes the meeting of these three nations plus Ukraine, let's say, more significant, if not less significant than others? Why these three nations?
Well, we see from different peace processes around the world, there's different formula, as you mentioned, different channels being explored. And you never know where a good idea that helps bring peace forward will come from whatever channel is being pursued. I mean, the process tends to be particularly messy. In this regard, peacemaking, you think back, the Oslo back channel that helped structure the Israel-Palestine peace process during the 1990s produced a lot of very unexpected good ideas that brought peace forward in that conflict. Alas, a lot of that has been lost in recent years. So I think the most important thing about this meeting is that it brings power in a focused way to the table with Europe's three principal powers. Of course, would be interesting if Poland would be involved there. Poland is a very important power in Europe these days. What would Poland's position on this be? I'd be interested to know. But it focuses power and unity in Europe behind Ukraine. And we'll see what traction certain ideas or certain points discussed have going into the future, going into the next few weeks.
And I think also on the next format, you're right, Poland is not on this one, but I think it's the E5 format that has Poland included. But looking at some of the tangibles now, one of these points, there's 5 points of this joint statement that was released on the 7th, on Sunday. Just and lasting peace, as you mentioned, immediate ceasefire, negotiation at current front lines, security guarantees for Ukraine. Given all those things, but we've also had recently that open letter from Zelenskyy to Vladimir Putin. That was rejected. Putin is ruled out of face-to-face. So if we have this kind of rejection, we have this new proposal, will that sway Putin any more than Zelenskyy tried?
I think it's unlikely at this time. I think we will have to go a bit longer until the squeeze gets put on Putin. He's feeling pressure with the economy right now. He's feeling pressure with recruitment of military personnel right now. He's feeling pressure as Ukraine brings the war he has waged closer to the Russian people with these drone strikes on Russian critical infrastructure right now. So I think before we get closer to implementation of some of these ideas, Putin has to feel the hurt. So the pressure has to be notched up on him, both from Ukraine in its self-defense and more broadly from Europe through its sanctions and through its support for Ukraine. We've got to be perseverant in this regard.
And also, speaking of perseverance, this topic, this is also on this joint proposal here from this E3. Reading it further, it says also about security guarantees and including a potential multinational force deployment. So we've heard this kind of talk before. We weren't really getting much clarity there. Is it any different now, talking about a peacekeeping, multinational peacekeeping force? And will Putin agree to it or not? He's dismissed a simple meeting. How is he going to react to this?
Yeah, I think we've really gone back to the future here with some of the points in this plan, because some of those points were already there 2.5 years ago in other discussions. I think most certainly, first and foremost, security guarantees for Ukraine are vital. Lasting, credible security guarantees, hard military security guarantees, they will ensure in a very realistic way that this will not happen again, that Russia will not use any ceasefire or any cessation hostilities to simply rearm and go again with its strategic objectives in Ukraine. That's why we need hard military security guarantees in one form or another. They can be delivered bilaterally, multilaterally, through NATO. We still need to discuss the architecture of that again. There isn't too much detail in this plan about that. On a multinational force, of course, that can act as a tripwire or a point of assurance along a border or potentially a line of control to ensure that line of control or that border between Ukraine and Russia does not become kind of a smoldering powder keg or a frozen conflict. These frozen conflicts that Russia likes to create and use strategically. So I think both the idea of a multinational force, potentially a UN force, maybe an EU force, UN force would be more globally, would create a lot more global stakeholders in the Ukrainian peace process, matched with hard security guarantees for Ukraine. That seems to be the logical road worth following. But as I've said, these proposals have been around for many years now, and we don't seem to be getting much tangible in bringing these ideas towards realization currently, unfortunately.
Yeah, indeed. And as you said, this is something that needs much more in terms of tangibles before it's decided on. Look, thanks so much for that analysis. Much appreciated. As always, Dr. Eoin McNamara there. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sascha.
And thank you for joining us, but stay right here on TVP World for more news and commentary. Goodbye.